out. No one wants to fight for Israel.
His hand, his hand. Oh, his hand.
Oh my God. Sir.
Let go of your hand. Let go of the door.
Let go of the door.
The senator broke his hand. A sitting U.S. senator just broke the hand of a Marine.
Sir.
Control your Senate.
I'm stuck in the door. Okay, sir.
A U.S. senator just broke the hand of a Marine.
Hand's stuck.
I didn't even have the motivation at all to make this video, but I'm making it anyways. Because what happened is absolutely just frustrating and just really makes you it just makes you full of rage at what is happening in the world. Basically, what happened today is during a Senate hearing, there was a protester who was either former or current Marine, decorated Marine, from the U.S. Marine Corps, the military, the United States military, who was vocally opposing the current new, fantastic new war that's going on right now, vocally opposing it during this Senate hearing, and getting just manhandled out the door. And as he's getting, manhandled by these cowardly, just pieces of shit fucking cops, he grabs the door as he's getting pulled out. And meanwhile, a couple other dirtbags roll in, namely one of them being the senator of Montana, Tim Sheehy. And just literally 4, 5, 6 guys piled up on this dude, and they all can't get him out of the door because they're all just pathetic. And as he's holding on to the door, his hand was wedged in between the two doors, like on the side of the door that they were trying to get him through. And he yelled, "Nobody wants to fight for Israel." And then, like 2 seconds later, his arm literally just like cracks. It breaks right here. I'll probably throw in the video. I'll show it. And it does that because of the assholes that were trying to drag him through, namely, including Tim Sheehy. Now, Tim Sheehy is the current senator of Montana. He lives very close to where I live, and he's a recipient of AIPAC money. And I believe the number is somewhere in the realm of $600,000, $640,000 or something like that in AIPAC bribe money. And just the irony of him breaking the forearm of either former or current member of the U.S. military, namely the United States Marine Corps, as he's publicly, verbally protesting, non-violently protesting the current war in the Middle East, in Iran, that Bibi Netanyahu and Israel have been just begging for, just really chomping at the bit for this war to happen for the last, I don't know, 15 years, last 20 years, even probably longer than that, probably a lot longer than that. Just the irony of this whole thing, and then just the absolutely infuriating nature of this event is really beyond my ability to explain in a video like this. But what it does show is it's actually a very symbolic in a huge way. It shows the absolute disdain and disgust and absolute just hatred that the ruling class that we live under has for the people that do their bidding in the long run. Growing up, and even today, and as long as I've been alive, myself and everybody around me has always been told to support the troops, to really just be all for the brave men and women that are there protecting our freedoms, and fighting the good fight and going after the bad guys, and that thank a vet for your freedom, and all of these kind of idealistic things pertaining to the support of the armed forces of the state. And what routinely happens in those circles of people that have been through that ringer, veterans, those veterans who've went to the wars, who've done the war. You went to the Middle East, they went to Iraq, they went to Afghanistan, they went to all these places, and they've become disillusioned. They've become street smart to the scam that are all of these different wars that have been fomented by the U.S. But of course, ostensibly begun by these other factions, which in reality they're not. They're just, it's different things. The CIA going in and fomenting conflicts, and then the U.S. coming in and posing as the saviors, or whatever situations, right? These wars that start on false pretenses. These veterans that have fought in these wars, who've done the research afterwards, who've realized the scams, they realize these wars for what they are, which are just absolutely huge scams and just mass murder campaigns of people who, otherwise they probably would have gotten along with. When these men then come out and they vocally oppose the war machine, they vocally oppose the military-industrial complex, and they try to speak out and blow the whistle, it's very evident how poorly they're treated in the aftermath of that. They're basically reviled. They're portrayed as people who are traitors to this country, and they're traitors to America, and all of that other kind of stuff. And meanwhile, they're literally just people who have realized this scam for what it is, like I said. And this is another one of those examples of somebody who's, peered through the veil, who's seen what goes on behind the curtains, and has come to the moral conclusions that he should come to. And this is the end result. He gets manhandled out, has his arm broken, gets thrown in a cage, and we'll see what happens to him. But this is the end result. This is the end result. The people who wake up, the people who arrive at the correct conclusions that this whole thing is just a huge, just a massive, massive scam, just orders of magnitude greater than any scam that's ever been known to humanity. These people are largely, they're some of the only hope that we really have at fixing any of this stuff. These are the people who have seen it all. These are the people who have seen the corruption, who have seen the depravity, and have done the shadow work, enough shadow work to have the courage to actually go out and speak truth to power, so much so that they even get their arms broken. But I think that is ultimately the conclusion that the majority of these people who have served this agenda have to come to sooner rather than later if we're to change things. And that they have to realize that the people who are giving these commands, the people who are the powers that should not be, that are at the helm of all of these things, that are the movers and shakers of history, who are the ones who start these wars and profiteer off of them and steer the course of history. We need to realize that they are the ones that have probably the most amount of disdain and hatred for the people who decide to do their bidding, aka service members, aka anybody who's in the military, anybody who's in the government, anybody who follows their orders, does their commands, and engages in the behaviors that they would not engage in themselves because they understand the karmic consequence of those behaviors. So instead, they have a whole bunch of order followers, they have a whole bunch of people ready to do their bidding, who will behave, who will do those things, who will implement those things and put those things into physical manifestation, who then will suffer with the brunt of the karmic consequence of those actions. Meanwhile, the people who are at the helm, who are handing out the orders, get to sit back in a karmic sense. And they get to, behind, of course, closed doors, make absolute fun of the people going out and dying in these wars, people that are going out and murdering all those innocent people and engaging in what Henry Kissinger would call foreign policy. Right, because that's another thing too, is you don't realize there's a big quote by Henry Kissinger that, of course, has been debunked, that has been associated to, is falsely associated to Henry Kissinger. But he basically said, I'll include it in here. He said, military men are just dumb, stupid animals to be used for either cannon fodder or as pawns in foreign policy. That's what they see. That's what they see the order follower as. Just a simple pawn, literally nothing more than an animal to be used in their favor, to be used to benefit them. And then once they're done with them, with the order follower, with the soldier, with the military member, they can be discarded. And they can be discarded very, very quickly and efficiently. And those who are discarded and who then just shut up and then just don't talk about it, maybe bitch a little bit about how, the VA doesn't treat them well or doesn't pay for enough of their medical care, they get ignored. But then when you have those other members who, again, arrive at the correct conclusions, and they begin to speak truth to power, they begin to start these conversations of what the hell even is all of this? Why are we engaging in all of these wars? Why are we fighting at the whim of why are we fighting Israel's wars? Why are we handing out billions and billions of taxpayer dollars to foreign countries like Israel and like Ukraine? And meanwhile, there's just these absolute, completely devastating issues going on in the place where they're from this country. Those people that start to say these things, that start to raise these questions, that start to speak truth to power, they're the ones who get demonized the most. And I think that is just a reflection of the times, and it's a reflection of the fact that we need more people like this man to speak up, to speak truth to power, to step into their courage, and to show this absolutely satanic, evil system that we live under, to show its true colors, to speak out, to show that this is not what this country was meant to be about. This is not what the American people want, truly, even though a lot of them have been brainwashed into thinking that this is all great. And that this is, the situation that we have currently is in some ways preferable. The more of these people that speak out, the more things will get better, even in the, even if it's not in the short term, in the long term, the more moments like this happen, the more moments of pure courage that was exemplified by this man, the more this sort of thing happens, the more people, the more it's a cascading effect, the more people start to engage in such behaviors. And again, what happened here was absolutely nonviolent. The man was merely just speaking his truth. And granted, it was interrupting a Senate hearing. Oh my goodness, right? Terrible. Can't have that. But it was a peaceful mode of resistance. And the man had his forearm just shattered and then thrown into a cage for it. This is the type of world that we live under. And the only way it gets better is if there's more people like this speaking out, and more people like this lifting the veil, lifting the veil of the absolute corruption that is the political system that we live under. Now, as an anarchist, it's very refreshing, because this also undermines just the in some ways, of course, and granted, this isn't like the 100% the message, but this does undermine the legitimacy of the current system that we live under. So as a result, in on the positive side of this thing, which is, again, it's horrible that this man had to have his arm broken and his First Amendment right tarnished. The positive side to this story is it just absolutely blew up all over the internet, and everybody has seen the video, including thousands of veterans, thousands of people who have served this corrupt to the core system, and they now get to see how they're going to be treated, including by the very people that they've helped get into power, namely their senators. And that is a blow that I don't think they're going to be able to walk away from entirely. And it's one that is going to, if it continues to happen, it was going to result in a cascading and exponentially multiplying effect, which will ultimately result in their downfall. One can only hope. Thanks for watching.